radar. If we can go to Weather Chief Bill Taylor. And Bill, what does it look like at this hour now that we're approaching just right after 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Well, the good news is we're working into a nice break in this rain. I was looking at some of the model data for winds. You know, winds will become important this afternoon. If we can get some good gusty winds, that'll help dry things out a bit. I don't expect a whole lot of sunshine. I would hope that we could get a little bit. That would also help dry things out. But it's really not looking like we'll get much in the form of sun this afternoon before it sets. But we will hope for those winds to pick up. And the problem is those winds will be coming from the southeast, which is going to replenish some of the moisture that rained out of our atmosphere. I want to show you some of the updated rainfall totals in the metro. You can see 3/4 of an inch at Helotes is the high spot. It's all under half an inch till you get to Stone Oak, a little more than half an inch, right at half an inch for Medina Lake. Boy, do things change quickly when you get into the hill country. Kerrville, 2.5. We've got some rainfall estimates right around Kerrville, about 4 to 5. I'll show you that in a moment. Like Ingram, 5.25. But look at Hunt, 9.5. These are actual measurements. These are rain gauge estimates. And so when we show you the rainfall estimates on the map, that's going to be based upon rainfall rate, which of course has dropped dramatically. We've got a light rain falling right now, but we're working into a little bit of a dry slot that'll keep us in the afternoon and keep us pretty dry into Friday evening. However, you can see this number right here. We've got a very good chance and a very good coverage on more rain overnight into early Saturday. It'll keep temperatures in the 80s, and then we can finally drop rain chances as we get into Sunday. Don't ever underestimate the power of water. You know, Sarah mentioned this earlier. It does not take a lot of water in height. It's all about rate at which it's moving. You know, I mean, we're talking about 1.5 miles per hour, 2 miles per hour. You will not be able to stand in that rate of moving water because remember, it doesn't let up. It's just a continuous push. And so just halfway up the tire of a regular vehicle, a sedan, 12 inches will take that right off the road. But once you get up to 1.5 to 2 feet, now it's taking any truck or RV vehicle, SUV, right off, even vans, the roadway. Weekend rain event, the flood risk, of course, is going to continue through tomorrow morning. Remember that street flooding is going to be causing some high water spots. Additional storms are possible tonight and overnight. And with these storms is definitely going to come some lightning, some very loud thunder, rattling homes last night for sure. Bandera up through Kerrville. These are tropical in nature, so we won't see hail. We won't see tornadic activity, but we will see very heavy rainfall. Very heavy rainfall. And now with the ground so saturated already, we have nowhere to put additional water that falls. So as you work your way through another good coverage and chance of rain late tonight and through Saturday morning, we've got a real problem on our hands. Now, so far, the city is moving forward with tonight's celebrations at Woodlawn Park. That fireworks show slated for 9 p.m. And so we're going to be dry at 9, but you can see isolated activity could be lingering up until about 5 or 6 p.m. and then we should be dry through that 8 to 10 p.m. hour. But as soon as we get to midnight, the chances back up again. Now, the models are agreeing that we're going to get another big burst of rainfall. The only difference between them is the timing. One model says we're probably going to see it a little bit earlier. The other model says it really doesn't come together till about 3 or 4 in the morning. I'll show you both in just a moment. But first, this is the flooding outlook. You know, the Severe Prediction Center, the SPC Severe Weather Outlook, where we put things on a scale of 1 to 5. And it covers hail, it covers tornadoes, it covers it as a collective severe weather risk. When we say we're in a level 2 or we're level 1 or a level 3 or 4 when it's really likely. Well, we also get products from the Severe Prediction Center that focus in on flooding and excessive rainfall. That's what you're looking at right here. This is the excessive rain outlook through tomorrow morning. And you can see we've got most of Kerr County still in a level 2 risk of getting more heavy rainfall, and even into Kerrville. This is a level 3 risk of getting additional heavy rainfall that would, of course, impact the Guadalupe River at Kerrville, impact the Guadalupe River at Hunt, and all these areas east. Now, remember, they're all approaching record levels. This is the worst flood since 1987 in the Kerrville area. All right, let's take a look at live radar, where we still see lingering heavy rain north of Kerrville. I'm hoping that the trend with this batch is going to be more east than directly south. That should be the case. You see the counterclockwise center of rotation with this, kind of lifting out more towards Austin and spots northeast. But what's happening is these lingering rain showers are starting to drift a little bit farther to the south. You can see pockets of heavy rain. So Medina, Texas is right back in here. And then you've got Bandera right about here. And so that should stay to the north of Bandera, south of Kerrville, where the rain continues to be light, but I've got a little bit of a moderate shower and a little good batch moving down south of Harper that'll impact Kerrville, probably into Comfort and Bernie. Speaking of Comfort, by the way, just got off the phone with Comfort Pizza Company. They are open for business. The flooding got pretty close to the pizza place, but some wood-fire pizzas being cooked there at Comfort Pizza. They are open for business. Don't know that they'll be able to deliver. They're on pretty slim staffing today, but they are open. All right, so notice that the I-35 corridor, also a pretty good band of decent rain, but the rainfall rates are in good shape. When I say good shape, we're moving more towards the lighter amount, or at least the lighter rate at which this rain's falling. The last real heavy rainfall rates exiting Austin and Georgetown off to the east. Let's talk about some of the rain that has fallen. And now remember, off the top of this, I showed you the actual gauge readings. These are based upon the rainfall rates. 7.5 near Bandera, 1 inch at Medina Lake. And then you get 5+ near Kerrville. And then look at this pocket, and it is huge. This covers so much real estate of western Kerr County. Hunt and Ingram right within this at a foot of water. And that's why you have such a huge, look at this now. This is a huge polygon of flash flood warning from almost to Bandera north of Kerrville. This is impressive. You normally don't see a flash flood warning this large. This is incredible. And then this is the Guadalupe River, the focal point of all the flooding. All this water is heading towards Canyon Lake. This is Canyon Lake, Comal County. And you can see that, again, these are all river flood warnings. This is the Medina River with a river flood warning down into Medina Lake. Both of these lakes can definitely handle an increase in water. Remember that they are, Canyon Lake's in better shape. Medina Lake's at like 2 to 3% full. Now let's talk about moisture. How much precipitable water still remains in the atmosphere? Too much. When you consider what we're looking at here, this is current. And as we work our way into Friday night and Saturday, it lets up a little bit, but we're still on that higher scale of tropical moisture in the atmosphere. And this goes back to the beginning of the week when Tropical Storm Barry, that was a short-lived named storm in the western Bay of Campeche and moved west inland at Mexico, all of that tropical moisture surged north. And at the same time, we had a good prevalent southeast wind keeping dew points tropical over 70. Now you start seeing things thin out, but this is Monday. So I think we're getting on the better side of things Sunday, but then by Monday, we should be dry enough. Now, see, this is the problem. This time of year, we're not talking about a cold front where we're going to see a change in air mass. We're not going to see a good dry air pool move in. That's not going to happen. So dew points, even through tomorrow afternoon and into Sunday, are still 70 plus. With those southeast winds continuing off the western Gulf, we keep this moisture in place. All right, future radar. This is important. As we get into the overnight hours, we're going to first look at the HRRR and what radar should look like at 3 a.m. Saturday. Well, you can see right down I-35. So after a break this evening, and we stay under cloudy skies and this water starts to recede a bit, we're going to see another good batch of rainfall develop after midnight into the 3 a.m. hour. Then more heavy thunderstorms expected to develop at New Braunfels at sunrise, about 7 a.m., right up through San Marcos and Austin, drifting southwest into the city, right up the 281 corridor, mid-morning Saturday. Very heavy rain from San Antonio International right through Bernie, Spring Branch, where Mike Jimenez is, and we're watching the Guadalupe closely right now. And then look at this. It sits still. So that was 7 to 11 a.m., and then look, this is 3 p.m. tomorrow. And we're still looking at very heavy rainfall that drifts down into northwest Bexar County, but is slowly moving west. And hopefully this comes true, that it really starts to die down later in the evening Saturday and avoids coverage into the Kerrville area and west Kerr County, where we saw those double-digit totals. This would be the blessing, that it moves a little farther south, and then by, again, Sunday, we start to dry out. Let's look at the second model. The second opinion on this, well, this model, the graph, has it Saturday at 7, and it blows up off to the east of us. Still very heavy rain. So the one thing that both models definitely agree upon is another big burst of very heavy tropical rains. It's the timing that's the differential between the two. And notice that the abundance, you really saw a blast of heavy rain in the midday hours of tomorrow, and by 2 p.m. tomorrow, pushing west into Kerr County, and then beginning to let up as we get into the mid-afternoon tomorrow. So again, it's really just a difference in timing. Both models agree we're going to see more rainfall tonight and through tomorrow morning. Here's some of the totals. The highest predicted totals between 3.5 and 4.5, I-35 corridor, New Braunfels to San Marcos, about 1.5 inches to Austin. It tapers off quickly, but I'm telling you, this 1 inch can aggravate so much of the flooding on the Guadalupe and Kerrville. It can't handle 1/10 of an inch, never mind 1.25 inches. Then you're going up closer to 1.5 inches at Fredericksburg. And again, this is through Saturday night before we start dropping rain chances heading into Sunday. 14-day forecast, so weather impact alert's going to be up for at least half of Saturday. If this continues to show trends of moving more rain into the afternoon, we're going to have to extend it for all of Saturday. But for now, overnight tonight and early Saturday, weather impact alert. Temperatures will stay in the 80s, 40 to 50% coverage on that rainfall for Saturday. Dropping rain chances Sunday. We warm back up to a more seasonal 93 for early July. And then an isolated shower can't be ruled out on Monday, Tuesday. Weather impact alerts here. Notice there's no rainfall. Why are they there? Saharan dust expected to thicken at the end of the work week on the 10th and the 11th. Because again, we had a big surge on the way before all this rain moved in. That was in the forecast for, you might remember, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of this week. Well, that was when that first good batch of tropical moisture and the rainfall moved in, so that really quelled the Saharan dust buildup. 10% chance of rain for the weekend of the 12th and 13th, 10% even on Monday, the 14th. So again, guys, we're far from done with this rainfall, and the worst news is that tonight and early tomorrow, another big burst of heavy rain is in the forecast. So we're going to have to keep this very, very close. And remember, download the KENS 5 app, keep the radar in the palm of your hand, have notifications on, and we will be keeping you up to date on all platforms.
Right. And Bill, I think the reason, too, that this comes at a particularly difficult time and makes it even more devastating is you're looking at the 4th of July. It's a holiday. That particular area in the hill country is known amongst vacationers. People come from all over the country to camp out near the Guadalupe River, near the Frio River. And just a little while ago, we were talking to someone from one of the camps up there, and they said they had hundreds of children and people from all over the country vacationing here. Luckily, in their particular case, they were on higher ground, so they're all accounted for and safe. But you have, for example, Camp Mystic Summer Girls Camp, where right now some girls are still unaccounted for, and the parents are still waiting to hear what's the last thing. So we don't know how many are impacted. We are just getting now another word that Camp La Junta near Hunt, everyone is safe and accounted for, so that is some great news. They said they too are on higher ground, so I think the camps that are located a little higher, those are the ones that are okay. But if you think about how many camps are in that area, between Comfort and Ingram and Kerrville, there's a lot.